Hey, Flames fans, welcome to another edition of Flames Unfiltered, hosted by myself, Brad Burud, and Kyle Lewis. And we are dead in the middle, not in the middle, but we're in off season, and it's pretty quiet in Calgary as the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs keep cruising along. Kyle, good to talk Flames hockey with you here today on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it's been a while. There's really, like I say, pretty quiet on the Western Front, so to speak, as far as the Flames are concerned. But it's kind of nice. I don't mind a little break from everything.
Well, just the way this year kind of went. I mean, not that it would. I mean, we still have summed it up kind of as not a bad year because we learned a lot this year. It just now that the lottery is over and we just wait for the draft pick on the 25th, I believe, of June. We're just kind of in standstill mode. I don't think there was any UFAs. We were, too hot to wrap up and get contracts. And now it's just kind of a wait and see game, and we'll see what the summer brings us.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, I mean, we know a few things already, I guess. We'll dive into the simple stuff here first. Daniel Miromanov will not be back in the organization. He's going back to Russia, to no one's surprise. And I don't think this has been said yet, but I'm all but certain Ivan Profsatov is also going to be heading back to Russia. Based on the season he had, I can't imagine he's going to return. But this is one of those things that happens every spring, right? Especially with the Russian players that couldn't get a foothold in North America, so to speak. You kind of see that exodus, which is kind of the first thing to happen, I guess, as you enter the off season. So nothing's particularly noteworthy, but it's also kind of good to see those roster spots get freed out and wish the best to those players as they move on.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of expected with those two players, and we'll see what happens with the rest. And we set on a few pending UFAs, and I don't see anybody getting signed in that group either, with Olofsson and Lomberg, and who else am I forgetting? I don't see any signings coming with any of those either. So the excitement, I mean, there really isn't much going on right now. There is a little bit of news this week. Craig Conroy said in an interview that he was pretty much open to movement with anybody other than Dustin Wolf, Matt Vagridden, Matt Coronado, and Zane Parekh.
Yep.
I don't know if that's real news. I think everybody kind of knew that. But
you might have been able to add one other player into that mix, like maybe Brstavich or somebody, like if one was to speculate. But I mean, that being the core group is not particularly surprising.
Yeah, no, and I think there'd probably be some more talk and hesitation, even with a couple other players too. It'd have to be a banging deal to move any of them. But we are right now. I mean, we're in that transitional period with the rebuild, and there's some important decisions that need to be made, and that's a little bit what we'll kick the show off with is kind of like a ticket to rebuild. Decisions are being made now, and after what we saw in players last season, some really difficult decisions are going to have to be made by Craig Conroy. And today Kyle and I are going to put our Craig Conroy hat on, be the general manager, and discuss what we would do with the players on the current roster. And I kind of got it down to 4 different categories. I think there's the category of, yep, you get a ticket, you're on this rebuild. Number 2, you're a 1-year show me, this is your last chance year. 3 is you're out of here, and 4 is you're aged out of the rebuild, right? So let's I'll rattle off some players, and you kind of tell me what you think, and I'll tell you what I think, and we'll just kind of quickly go through the roster, and then we'll roll on to some other Flames news, Stanley Cup playoff news, and some different thoughts about life, right?
Sure. Fire away.
Blake Coleman.
Trade him. Value's high, time to move on.
Yep. I kind of got him in that category too, where he's, not part of the rebuild based on his age, and let's find a good landing spot for him.
I should clarify though, that could be trade deadline next year too. It doesn't have to be this summer, but he's not a part of the long-term plan at all.
I think that he will be the guy he will be the Rasmus Anderson of last year, the guy we talked about on the move. And I think me and you've talked about that before, and I think that still holds true.
100% agreed.
Matt Vagridden.
Absolute. Give him whatever he wants, keep him forever.
I am with you there. He is probably the brightest hope for a star player in Calgary, along with maybe Dustin Wolf, that we have. So let's.
I firmly believe his prediction that he will lead the team in scoring next year as well.
I do too. I really do too. This now, the third one I'm going to read off is probably going to be the most difficult one that we talk about, just because there's so much uncertainty, and that's Jonathan Huberdeau.
You're kind of stuck with him, right?
You are. I mean, you have to put him as part of the rebuild, because I think you are stuck with him. The positive there is, let's see what happens with this injury. Two things are going to happen. He's either going to come out of it and be a better Jonathan Huberdeau, or it's going to fall back to it's injury, and we're going to see out an LTIR.
I suspect he's going to be an incrementally better version for another season and a half or so, and then assuming he doesn't get hurt. But yeah, like that's no matter what we think is going to happen, he's a part of this, whether we like it or not. And I don't dislike Huberdeau, and I like his game when he's on. And this surgery has been a long time coming. So, but yeah, he's kind of like the variable in that he's a part of the team, whether it's LTIR or otherwise, right?
The thing that we have going for us in that, though, is that I do think he is going to be a strong mentor and leader and good for the younger kids. So that's a positive there.
Yeah, absolutely.
This one might be the most difficult one. Connor Zary.
That's about as middle of the ground as you can be. I think he'd benefit from a change of scenery. He's almost that past that best before date in Calgary, I feel. Which sucks, because I do feel he's going to have success elsewhere, but I think there's a very good chance he gets moved over the summer.
I think there is too, and I actually kind of hope there is. I just don't see him as part of this rebuild anymore. I did going into last season. I had high hopes for him. It just never translated after the injury. It just never got going.
Yeah, he kind of got stuck in the lineup too, and perhaps unfairly at times. I felt like it's one of those, the chicken and egg, right? Like, do you demote the guy because he's not playing well, or do you promote the guy so he gets into a rhythm where he is playing well?
Yeah, I mean, he did get opportunity. I agree with you. I agree, but he did get some opportunities and did nothing with them.
Very little, yeah. So I'd like him to stick around because I like the player, but I don't see this success happening in Calgary, especially as other players assert themselves. It's exactly what happened last year.
Sam Honzik
lost a season to injury. I'd like to keep him. I think he's going to have a good year if he can stay healthy.
I do too. You're on the same page as me on that one. Michael Backlund.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, you need to have some vets around, so I'm okay keeping him, but major trade bait at next year's deadline.
You think so? Because I don't. I look at Michael Backlund as that guy that's just going to slowly slot down.
Well, we've talked about that, and maybe that's the case, but I mean, depending on what the availability is like next year, somebody could call with a crazy offer for him, right? You never know.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, I'm open to crazy offers, but it would have to be crazy, because I think he holds a pretty firm grip of helping this rebuild along. I really do.
Yeah, just the worry is as he's getting older, like when the play drops off, not unlike Mark Giordano, when it falls off fast.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what you see because a lot of guys slow down by 33, 34, right? Well, he's been the same player pretty well this entire time. So
the thing we have going for us, Backlund is only on the books until 2 more years. So that's about when I'd probably project it to drop off, probably.
No, that's why the contract was structured that way, right?
Exactly. Morgan Frost.
I really don't want to let go of him. His face-off percentage was so much better throughout the year. After Kadri got traded, he looked like a potential second-line center, maybe even a first if the stars align, but that's a bit far-fetched. But I love the player, and I'd rather keep him.
I look at him, too. He's kind of on that one-year show me now. We got a glimpse, right? We got a glimpse in the second half of the season of what he can be. I don't think he'll ever be a number 1 center. If he is, we're not a good hockey team. But boy, could he be a good 2-3 center for us. And I loved what I saw the second half of the year, I guess, post Kadri deal. So
they may as well lump Joel Farabee in there too, his best friend and trade partner, because I feel the same way about him. I'd rather keep him.
We'll jump ahead to Farabee. I'm a little bit ahead on a little bit more on Farabee. I got a little better beat on him all year last year, And I don't know that he's not kind of the next Blake Coleman for this organization as far as that third line winger that is going to be there day in and day out and play a really, really, really strong defensive role and pop in a few here and there. I liked what I saw from Joel Farabee last year.
Yeah, I did too. He's very effective shorthanded, good, like you said, good two-way player. And I like the way, we'll talk about this before, but I liked his attitude when he was given an A as assistant captain. He really seemed to buy into that, which is why I think he might be a good leadership piece moving forward, especially as we talk about Coleman inevitably moving on sooner than later.
Yeah. Ryan Strome.
Helps with the cap, What's he got yet left? One more year?
One more. Yeah. Let me see here just to be sure on that. Yeah, one more year. I think he's that guy. He's just going to age out of this and rebuild, but he's going to play a good role again next year for this team, and he'll just age out as it.
They'll flip him for a middling pick at the deadline, I think.
Yep.
Which is fine. It costs him nothing, essentially.
Another difficult one, Matthew Coronado.
Not difficult for me at all. Absolutely keep him. Same as Conroy seems to believe. He had a bit of a sophomore slump. Who gives a shit? That's my opinion on him.
I know, but he's got to show me this year because I thought his game sucked last year. I thought he was awful.
No, he will. I'm confident of that.
You think so, huh?
I'm absolutely certain. And maybe I'll be dead wrong, but I feel absolutely certain he's going to have a great bounce back year. Probably going to hit 30 goals for the first time.
Okay.
Enough said.
No, I you know what? I want nothing more than that to happen.
I know. And I understand your doubt. I just have all faith in the world in him.
I saw no pop in his game at all last year. I saw none. Everybody says, "Oh, he's a sniper. He's a sniper." He doesn't score. He scored 18 goals.
Yeah, which in a down year isn't horrible, but I mean, yeah, he's going to be. I just think he's going to be much.
He's going to need to score a hell of a lot more than that for this team to be successful.
And he will.
Okay. Yegor Sharangovich.
That's such a tough one because he had such a good first year in Calgary, right? A good bounce back candidate to a point, but I don't expect him to get close to 30 goals again, 20 maybe, but you'd almost have to throw in a prospect and move him at this point because he makes decent money and he's got a fair bit of term left. But he's not a part of this long term. I don't see that at all.
I don't either. I think if you can move him, great. I've seen enough. I think I know what we got. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Adam Klapka.
Established himself as an NHL player, could fetch a decent return. I don't think he's necessarily a part of the rebuild. Would I be upset with him as a fourth line right winger on this team? Absolutely not. In a year or two's time, I don't care either way, really. I like him because he's big and sometimes he plays really effectively, but yeah.
I think he's highly overrated in the Calgary market. I do like his game though. I think he's been put into some positions that are probably a little bit over his head. And I think if we just slotted him in that fourth line right wing energy guy, I think he would find a role there and be really, really good at it for a long time. And I would have him part of this rebuild. I would.
Yep, I don't disagree.
This is another tough one. This is a really tough one, and probably not because of anything other than bad luck, but Martin Pospisil.
As I often have, I still compare him to Michael Furland. I know. It's just so precarious. I'd love for him to have a bit of bounce back year. I don't know that that's in his personal best interest to keep playing, and I'm sure that he's going to try, but as a part of the rebuild, no, I think that the team is going to cut bait within the next year or so on him.
You think so?
Whether it's mutual because of his health concerns or because somebody else wants to take a chance on him, effective north-south player, heavy hitter. I get terrified every time he fights. I
get terrified every time he gets hit.
Yeah, just for his health. But I think another team would give him a chance to play elsewhere, but I don't see him being around the organization long term. I'd like to be around with that because I really like him, and he was a huge surprise. None of us ever thought that guy was going to play in the NHL.
If for some reason I kind of got him in the category of show me this year. If he can show me that he can be healthy all year and be an effective left winger / I guess center, I could see him centering or left wing in the fourth line and for years to come. But he's got to show me he can be healthy, and that's not his fault. He plays a tough game. He plays a rugged game. but the health issues scare the crap out of me on him. I would love it for him to be part of this, but I just don't know that that's physically possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Let's roll on over to defense. Kevin Ball.
Would love to keep him. He might have the best stick of any defenseman in the league right now. I'd have to watch some more tape to really give a bit more accurate assessment. But I mean, he is very, very effective, good at boxing players out. Based on the types of defensemen we've generally been developing, I think he's an important piece of the future, and that's why he was signed to the contract he was signed to last year.
Yes, he is a huge part of this rebuild. Huge part of this rebuild.
Remember how poorly the team played in his absence too, right?
Yeah. I mean, he is so big. He is so big to this defensive core. He really, really is.
Yeah.
Olimata.
Unbelievable after being acquired. Made a hell of an impact, the likes of which nobody saw coming. So I think he's like the perfect tweener piece. He actually, to be quite honest, he could be what we thought Uyghur was going to be in terms of a transitional piece to get us into the new arena, part of the new era. Like he was that good, but now mind you, having such a small sample size is tricky. He just got traded. He's finally playing again. We should revisit him in like December of next year and see what we think then, you know?
I got him kind of pegged in that aged out guy. He's like going to be that transitional guy. Like a Strome is going to be for us, a Coleman to an extent. Get us through next year, maybe get moved at the deadline. We'll see what happens. But he's just going to fill that role and be a solid piece for us back there. Just to get us through that.
Yep.
This is a difficult one because honestly, I thought this guy was going to get moved last deadline. Joel Hanley
should be moved. His value is probably a little less than the highest it's ever been. But still, you know, decent market value, great player, like great teammate, just do not need whatsoever. He does not fit this team going forward. And I think it's just a waste of a roster spot to continue to give it to him, to be honest. Doesn't mean he doesn't fit in well somewhere else, just based on where the Flames are at. I would move him for sure.
Yeah, he's just kind of aged out. I mean, I think he's done everything we can ever ask for him. Gosh, if I remember right, wasn't he a waiver pickup?
Was it Hanley or no? Pahal was. Was it?
Well, Pahal was for sure. He's a waiver from Vegas. I thought maybe Hanley was picked up. Maybe he was picked up in a trade. I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But I mean, he's 34 years old, so like he's not part of this rebuild.
No,
he's you know, and right now it's hard to say he's a tweener because when you look to the left side of the defense, like, yeah, he's there. You know.
Oh, he was a waiver claim from Dallas. You're correct. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, he's perfectly serviceable. It just doesn't make sense to give that roster spot to him at that age when somebody else can be learning.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. Jan Kuznetsov is the guy that kind of took his spot. And I think that Jan Kuznetsov's probably a really integral part of this rebuild. And what do you think?
As you likely recall, I was not happy when Solovoyov got waived.
No, I wasn't either.
Yeah, but Kuznetsov was definitely the one to keep, and I think he's a huge part of this going forward. He's so stable. He's a huge part of this going forward.
He was the quietest spot last year on this roster of good things, really, for the young players. Like, he was such a quiet, integral part of that. It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Zach Whitecloud.
Perfect tweener piece again. I think he needs to be a part of the rebuild. He's such a leader.
I think he's more than a tweener piece.
Well, it depends on where we're at once we get into that new building. Things will change, of course, right? So potentially long-term fit, but I think he makes all the sense in the world to keep right now, despite a market that would be all over a guy like that if he were available. 2
more years under contract, and I think like as important as Kevin Ball is to this, he was super impressive in the when we got him for the Rasmus Anderson deal, and pretty integral part. The next 2 guys are young prospects. I think we can both agree that they'll probably be pegged as getting a ticket onto this rebuild, and that's Hunter Brustevich and Zane Parekh.
Parekh, 100% no-brainer, like otherworldly talent. Brustevich, a little less so, but a more well-rounded game. But Brustevich is also a very attractive trade piece. I'd rather keep him because I really like his game a lot. But Parekh is absolutely going to be kept. Brustevich, I think, will be, but there could be.
I hope he is, because Hunter Brustevich to me is the next Rasmus Anderson in this team.
Yeah, very well could be.
I really believe that. I'd be crushed if we moved him. We need him to. I mean, you look at the way this defense is kind of forming for this rebuild, and boy, would he be a nice spot on that. Be really, really good to keep him. Braden Pahal.
Uncle Kurt. What do we say for Uncle Kurt? Love the player. I think he's very valuable to come in and out of the lineup. He kind of got pushed aside a little bit, but I'm still thinking of the hit actually that he threw in Pittsburgh. But would love to keep him around. I think he's an excellent player to step into the lineup as necessary. And I think he would, based on the fact he was a waiver claim, like I think he would relish that role of, when called upon. I'm sure he'd love to play all 82 or I guess 84 games as it'll be, but he's just a great teammate. There's no reason to move on from a guy like Braden Pahal.
I know he probably would like to be an everyday guy, and I guess I wouldn't mind it either, but I love his game. He fits perfectly right now in that 4 right D slot and can move in and fill time for injuries or rest or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Very stable. Can be the Michael Stone, can be the guy that can sit 10 games and come in and look like he didn't skip a beat. So that's a good quality to have.
Absolutely.
Final 2 guys we'll talk about. Goaltenders, Dustin Wolf. Obviously, I think we both agree that he's a kingpin and gets a ticket on this rebuild. But Devin Cooley, where are you standing on Devin Cooley?
I would love to keep him. I mean, if he continues to play like he did last year, it's one of the best goaltending tandem in the league. But I do think there's a market for him, not unlike the Dan Vladar resurrection in Philadelphia. He became a starter, won a round with the Flyers. Cooley could do the same, so it's kind of one of the situations where if the right offer's there, you have to look at it. Finding a comparable backup has not been difficult for Calgary in recent years, when you really think about it, right?
Yeah.
So
I tell you what, though, I'd really hesitate to trade him. It'd have to be something to knock my socks off because I think this is a pretty good tandem. I think it's a tandem that works well together.
It's a very good tandem.
So when you and those are not. It sounds easy to just pull up any backup, but one that gels and works together. I think the Flames got a good thing going here, and I think Devin Cooley's also very good for the room.
Well, and I think that it's an offer would have to come from a team that's doubting its current goaltending situation, right? Which means they're going to pay a bit more for him.
Yeah.
So that's what would have to happen for him to be moved. I mean, but
I know,
I'd rather keep him.
I mean, so if somebody offered a 2nd round pick for you, would you take it? No, I wouldn't either. So okay,
maybe if it's a high 2nd, like basically a 1st, then I might consider it, depending on who it's coming from.
Speaking of 2nd round draft picks, with Vegas set to advance, are advanced to the conference finals now. The Flames 2026 1st rounder from Noah Hannafin trade can no longer be higher than 28th overall. And if Vegas wins the Cup, Calgary receives a 2028 1st instead of the 2028 2nd in the Rasmus Andersson trade. So let's cheer for Vegas.
I still can't cheer for Vegas. I'm sorry.
Why?
I hate them. I hate them so much.
You like Colorado better than Vegas?
It's not even so much that. It's more to do with just Vegas has gifted a brilliant roster in the expansion draft. They've abused LTIR for years. I really liked Bruce Cassidy, and then bringing in John Tortorella, who's already, committed a major media violation. Like there's so many reasons that it's not about me liking Colorado. It's about me hating Vegas.
We've talked about this quite a few times in the show.
It's also the fact that everybody has to trade with them. Like Calgary just keeps trading with Vegas. Like, can we just stop this? But I get it because you're kind of pigeonholed with the players. But anyway.
But why do we people don't like Vegas because they don't play Mr. Nice Guy. But Vegas wins because they don't play Mr. Nice Guy. So I envy that. I wish that we were that way a little bit. I think we're way, way too soft as an organization.
Oh, I agree with that point. With Vegas, it's like they've just exploited so many things. I'm just not going to cheer for them. I'm not faulting them for what they've done. I don't like it, and I think the league. And actually, I was happy to see that the league was very hard on the Tortorella thing because they should have been.
I don't cheer for Vegas either. I want to say that first, but the Tortorella thing, let's let the people know who haven't been paying attention. Flames fans, a lot of them, maybe shut off the playoff talk here for a little while. But after Vegas beat who the hell? What am I drawing a blank here?
Minnesota? Or no, that was Colorado. Sorry, Vegas beat Anaheim.
Anaheim. Oh, why did I just lost it there for a second? After they beat Anaheim, they, I don't know, just decided that Tortorella wasn't going to talk, and the players, the two of them talked, but they didn't fulfill the media obligations set forth by the league, and so the league did they fined Tortorella $100,000, which doesn't surprise me, but then they took away their 2026 second round draft pick, which did surprise me. Did that surprise you?
It did, because it's a very heavy punishment. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with the punishment, but that's a lot. That's a
heavy punishment.
But I like the fact that the league is enforcing it and telling those who have media passes, that you guys have a job to do, and you have every right to talk to our players and our coaches. Like, this is not acceptable behavior. And it's almost like we always do these real life analogies, and I think of it almost like if one of my sales guys no shows a meeting, that he's mandatory. You have to do it. Yeah. It's part of the job, right?
Yeah. No, I know. I guess the only thing I don't condone what they did. I think that's crazy, but for them to get, that's a hefty suspension, and really, really sends a message to the rest of the league.
And the weird thing is, we talked about this before we went on today, but like Vegas was warned about it, and they still did it, or Tortorella still did it, or whatever. Like,
and I think that's probably why it was such a hefty deal. But jeepers, that's
that's a big one for sure. I really didn't think it'd be that big. Like, yeah.
Also this week, Vegas denied. Well, first, actually, this happened before the Oilers let Knobloch go as head coach. The Oilers were denied permission to speak to Bruce Cassidy about the coaching role in Edmonton, which at the time wasn't open, but then was opened a couple days later, which I thought was kind of ass backwards, but probably typical of the way things have been in Edmonton lately. What's your thoughts on them denying that? He's under contract. He's been fired, but he's under contract for one more year.
So that means that he needs their permission for the next year to talk to anybody, right?
Yes.
Unless he were to forego whatever earnings he's owed, right?
I don't believe he could even do that.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
I don't believe you can do that.
It's kind of a, I'll put it this way. It's kind of a dirty move in a sense, but they're not doing anything wrong.
No, but I mean, everybody thinks it's dirty, but like, what would you want him to go to Edmonton?
No, like I wonder. No, I'm not thinking as a Flames fan though. I wouldn't want him. I love Bruce Cassidy. I wouldn't want him to go to Edmonton. No.
Yeah, I know, but I wondered now, like, if Toronto requests to speak to him.
Oh, probably.
Maybe yes.
Maybe by that point they will.
Yeah. And Darren Drager brought up on one of the shows, I don't remember what I was watching, but he brought up the fact that he's like, hey, they're in the middle of a Stanley Cup playoff run. Maybe they do not want to be dealing with this right now. Maybe it's
that's a fair point. They might have said, like, there's no rush for the Oilers to hire a coach, and that's what kind of drives me crazy about the league. And I'm glad you brought this up and Drager's point, because why rush it? Like, when I hired my own replacements, like, I didn't rush to make a decision. What's it going to change, especially hiring a coach in the offseason?
Like a coach to me, like, now I think what Nashville's doing with the GM is a little puzzling, because the draft is 4 weeks away. That's a little puzzling, but I don't know. I don't. I think there might be a little bit more to be more made out of this than what it really is. But
well, probably. But I mean, it's anyway. I guess the point is they're within their rights to do that, and just the whole idea that like the Oilers right away like sought permission. Then maybe Vegas just said, yeah, you know what, give us a call in August.
Yeah,
like we're not dealing with this right. Like like you said, like who knows? But the whole like you just got bounced out of the playoffs. Like, oh, we need to find a coach right now. It's like, why?
So do you think McDavid's part of the hiring crew to hire a new coach?
I mean, probably. They're going to do everything they can to keep him happy, even though he's gone in a year or 2 years, whatever.
I know. They're just grasping at straws now. It is a little fun to watch as a Flames fan.
Well, it is. And I mean, but there was I saw a point on it. Well, actually, of Steve Simmons, who I can't stand of all people, was talking about how Chris Knobloch got the axe, but basically all of the problems are on upper management in Edmonton. They signed some terrible, terrible deals. Like the Trent Frederick deal is Trent Frederick might be the worst contract in the league if you literally look at it just strictly from a performance versus salary standpoint. over and above a guy because even a guy like Darnell Nurse, at least he plays most nights and plays a lot of minutes, right? Rightly or wrongly.
How many goalies do they have under contract?
Oh God, I don't know. But even that, they exiled Stuart Skinner for Tristan Jarry, who wasn't worth a bag of pucks anyway, and they flipped Brett. And Brett Kulak, who just sent the Avalanche to the next round. They can't get out of their own way. Their management is incompetent, and that's the biggest problem in Edmonton. And I'm sure that they'd love to say the same thing about the Flames, which at times they certainly could. But we're right now we're rebuilding properly. The Oilers fired their coach, and I understand maybe the players didn't like him anymore. The message wasn't getting through, and maybe they had to change him anyway. But changing the coach is the least of their concerns. Their roster construction is the biggest concern.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Totally. Let's roll through the playoffs just here a little bit. I want to get your take on a couple series. We talked a little bit about the Vegas series. I don't know that really surprised me. I love what Anaheim's going to be good in the future.
Be good again next year. Huge step forward for that franchise.
Yeah, that's a huge step. Vegas takes that series 4-2. Colorado pretty much for the most part steamrolls Minnesota. I don't know. I think Minnesota's a good hockey team. I really do. I just think I think Colorado is just out of this world right now. So,
and for the record, despite him saying he'd be open to staying, I don't think Quinn Hughes is staying in Minnesota.
You don't think so? Huh?
No, he sounded way too neutral about it.
I never thought that was a landing spot that would stick when he got traded. But
no, and I understand why they did it to a point. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see that happening. But that's fine.
Where do you think he goes?
Well, the temptation of New Jersey is always going to be there, though. I don't know how they'd make it work. But
they're so awful, though. You want to go be part of that?
Are they really that far from being good, though? When you think about it,
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I do actually.
If they could find a goaltender, I think they'd be in much better shape. But which sounds
they just re-signed Markstrom. They just re-signed him.
Well,
I mean,
might want to find another one.
I don't know.
What about in the East? So
Carolina just steamrolling. They 4 versus Ottawa. They're done. Philly 4 and they're done. And they're sitting here and they have not played for a week now and they're just waiting.
Yeah, and Montreal really blew it against Buffalo when they could have closed it at home. So no matter what team comes into that series, the only thing that would help either Buffalo or Montreal against the Hurricanes is if the Hurricanes are just kind of stunted from too much time off.
So I've been dying to ask you this all week because I've been speculating something, and I don't think I'm wrong. The beginning of this playoffs, you were pro Buffalo. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put money on it right now that you're cheering for Montreal.
100%.
Why?
Oh, lots of reasons. I mean, they're the only Canadian team left. The biggest reason, though,
Who cares?
I care.
Why?
Because there hasn't been. Oh God, here we go. Because there hasn't been a Stanley Cup celebrated in this country in how many years? It's crazy. But I'm going to give you a better reason because I know you don't agree with that and I don't care, but I'll give you a better reason. That fan base is the most loyal and passionate in all of pro sports. They are insane. So if you can imagine this, if you weren't aware, that game in Buffalo, the one the other night, there was 10,000 people in the Video Colisée in Quebec City, never mind Montreal, watching another Jumbotron. And then you had another crowd at the Bell Center in Montreal. Like, they're nuts. And when I was in Quebec City, when they knocked off Tampa Bay in Game 7, I was at a bar. The fans were all going nuts. Like, it's like a religion up there. It's just super fun to be a part of.
I know. I've been there. I love it there. I love Montreal. But
that's my biggest reason is that fan base. And they've also built their team the right way. They've been patient. They developed very skilled players. I'm not against Buffalo advancing. I like Buffalo. I also love the fact that they're so close to the Canadian border. They still do the Canadian national anthem too, right? I think it's great. Neither one would upset me. I'm not a Carolina fan, so I hope either Montreal or Buffalo can pull it off as much as I can.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
And now here's my take on the whole Montreal thing. I love Montreal. It's the most. I mean, my experiences in Montreal have been awesome. I love the hockey there. It's been great. But as talented as this Montreal team is, and what I love their goaltending. I like a lot of aspects of this team. The amount of diving this team has done in the playoffs makes me ill.
You think it's worse than any other team?
Yes. And now I'm completely unbiased because I really don't. honestly, right now, I don't really care who wins from here on out.
That's kind of the problem we run it, because even like, in all honesty, even when it comes to like getting up to do a podcast some days this time of year, it can be challenging because we're not invested in what's happening on the ice, right? And it's so quiet on the Calgary front.
Yeah.
So for now, anyway.
But I've been watching this series, and I've been watching it pretty closely. And quite honestly, I have a soft spot for both these organizations because they both have struggled a lot.
Oh, tremendously.
And I think both fan bases are amazing. I think Buffalo might even be more amazing in a weird way. Buffalo has the highest rated television fan base in the U.S.
And I have a very good friend that lives in Buffalo, is a diehard Sabres fan. So I'm cheering for them, for her.
So, I mean, there's something to that. But I feel like in this NHL playoffs, and not just this series, but this series, it's been more glaring.
Yeah.
High sticks are high sticks. But when you are yanking your head back, flopping down like a soccer player, I've had enough.
Yeah. No, I get that 100%.
And Lane Hudson's little dive last night too, I don't like it. This is hockey here, guys. We cannot look like the NBA. And those are stuff to make us look like the NBA. And it bothers.
And I understand that. I want to say it was Kevin Bieksa, but I could be wrong. Somebody in the panel had commented, and I'm not saying it's right either, but players are going to do anything they can to get every advantage in a series and try to drop.
Totally agree.
Totally agree. Yeah, but at the same time, I can also stand behind the NHL taking a stricter stance on embellishment.
There's a difference, though, between drawing a penalty and flopping for a penalty.
Yeah, it can be, depending on the infraction, it can be a fine line, but generally I agree with what you're saying, yeah.
Drawing a penalty is working hard and putting yourself in a position where the other guy has to do something out of the rules to take you off the puck because you're busting your ass.
Yeah. So speaking of the playoffs, this is something else I wanted to talk about that we haven't spoken about at all yet, you and I, and I'm curious for your take on it, especially you've been hitting me with the questions this entire episode thus far. Cutter Gauthier in Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
So reveals post-elimination that he has a broken back. I think he's got 2 vertebrae that are broken, if I'm not mistaken. And that, as you likely saw, started a firestorm of commentary on social media about this hockey toughness culture and how dangerous it is potentially for a player like that who, and obviously I'm no doctor, but there seems to be some belief that he could have been paralyzed, have he took a bad hit or like something worse could have happened. That much I think we can agree on, when you're playing hockey with that type of injury. So without, feeding you an answer, I'll tell you my stance on it briefly, and I'd like to hear yours. I do think there's a bit of a toxic masculinity culture in hockey such that players are probably pushing themselves too hard, especially when it comes to concussions. That's the worst example I'm familiar with, right? In Gauthier's case, if that's the case, if his injury is as severe as everybody's making it sound, and maybe it's being embellished, but if it is that severe, a doctor should have said, you cannot play, it's too dangerous. But I don't know the actual severity of it. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to tell you this. I think that as much as we don't see it, I think this league does take a much stronger stance, and I do think that a doctor would have shut him down
if he had to.
Yeah, now I'm just saying this. Like Rasmus Anderson plays with a broken ankle, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to make it any worse, right?
Chris Tanev with a separated shoulder against Dallas.
Surely wasn't going to make it any better, but wasn't going to make it any worse. Wasn't career threatening or life threatening. Thus, the doctors let him play. Yep, I believe. Now, who was it? As soon as you brought this up, I thought of it too. Owen Tippett. Owen Tippett, I believe, missed game 4. And they asked him why he didn't play. And he said, because they held him out because of internal bleeding. Okay. Yeah. That's could be a very serious thing, right?
Very quickly.
Thus he was held out.
Oh, Peter Forsberg, when his spleen exploded in 2001.
Yeah. And so my thoughts are, and I'm even thinking from an Anaheim organization, he's a young player for this team that's going to be very critical for a lot of years to come. Mm-hmm. I sure as hell am not sending him out there in any situation where I can prevent or I could that could put him in a situation that's going to create long-term injury. But I do think though that as a hockey culture, anytime we hear of a guy playing through something, and every one of us is guilty of it. We did it with Rasmus Anderson last year.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear he was playing with this?
Yeah, we glorify it a lot.
We glorify it, and we embellish it too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
yeah, I agree.
Do I think that in a regular season game was he playing? No. Is the leash longer in the playoffs? Absolutely. But do I believe that people are putting, or do I believe teams are putting him in situations that are unsafe? I don't. And now concussions is a really difficult one. And I know that's something that bothers you and it bothers me also. But the concussion one, part of it is, if you're the doctor though, Kyle, and I say, no, I'm good, and I'm not, you can't physically examine me and tell me how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, you can to a point when the concussion's initially diagnosed, but as you recover, it's very difficult to do unless you're clearly very sensitive to light and these other symptoms, right? So
exactly.
Yeah.
But so I think that one might get slid under the rug a little bit more by the players because they want to play.
Yeah, and I think like one thing I would consider if I were in Anaheim shoes and I had all the facts, which clearly I don't, I'd be tempted with that conjecture to release a statement saying, our doctors, our medical professionals examined the player repeatedly, determined the extent of the damage, and understood that no further damage was likely to occur. With the player's consent, he decided to play. We did not force the player to play. Something like that.
Yeah, but if you did all that though, you don't need to tell us.
No, but I mean, teams can handle things the way they see fit within reason, right? And that's just something that would have crossed my mind if I was an executive with the Ducks, which again, obviously I'm not, but just an interesting thing.
I see where you're coming from. I do.
So I don't remember the last time we talked about this, but I'm going to bring up the Hockey Heroes thing for the Heart and Stroke Foundation again for a very specific reason. So I brought the list up in front of me because I want all of our listeners to know how many ex-Flames are actually playing this year. One of which hopefully will be drafting to the team I'm playing on. So I'll go through the list. I've mentioned them before, but the list is a little bit longer now. So we got Brendan Morrison. We got Chris Dingman, Curtis Glencross. Let's see who else. Brian Skridland. My one I'm most excited about, Tony Amante, and his fellow 2005 offseason, co-signee Darren McCarty again, who was a great guy. I met him last year. Sean Donovan of Brad Bird's Game Worn Collection fame, and Trevor Kidd.
Oh, Trevor Kidd's coming too, huh?
And they've also had other notable names like Michael Pekka lately, which is really cool. So
that's a good one.
So it's by no means not very many A-listers in terms of their time in Calgary, but a pretty cool list just the same.
What is the date on this now, Kyle?
First weekend in June. So it is the 5th, 6th, and 7th of June, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And
so the draft will be on Friday night, where we will select our player. Okay. And then we play 2 games Saturday and 1 game Sunday.
And it's for the Napa Hockey Heroes weekend. All the proceeds go to the Heart and Stroke Foundation of New Brunswick. Kyle's halfway to his goal. He's at 23-10. Let's get him to 5. I will be putting links out today on all the social media platforms to click on over. And if you can, please help Kyle out. And of course, help out the Heart and Stroke Foundation of New Brunswick as they have a Hockey for Heroes weekend that's a lot of fun and a lot of money for a really good cause.
Yeah, it really, really is. I mean, last year was like 1.3 million or something like that. So we'll see what it comes to this year. But yeah, great weekend, a lot of fun. Be tons of pictures posted as there was last year, and any support is greatly, greatly appreciated.
All right, Flames fans, the draft is the next thing on the ledger as far as Calgary Flames things going on. That is June 26th with round 1, and then round 2 through 7, June 27th. As for the Flames podcast, you will catch us the next 2 weeks with special episodes. May 26th, June 2nd, we'll have 2 special episodes out. We'll be back with a regular episode on June 9th. So still Flames stuff to talk about, although this week was a little light, but it was kind of fun to dive into that rebuild a little bit and kind of get a finger on what we would do with some of these players and who we really want to see have a really break out year next year. To answer those questions for us, right?
Well, it's very preliminary in a sense, but it's also right around the corner. So it's good to start laying the groundwork because that's what Flames management is doing, right? So those of us who are fans should be doing the same thing, like who fits where, who's going to be here, who isn't, who should be here, et cetera, et cetera. So It's going to be hopefully a long summer in terms of the weather and people enjoying themselves, but an interesting one as well for those of us who follow the Calgary Flames.
All right, Flames fans. As we go, music from Booze and Tuna. They have started their summer tour, Second Helping Tour. I saw them last night. And,
nice.
They will be all through the Midwest this year. And we will leave with a little music from them. Flames fans, enjoy your summer. We're here every week through the summer, but really take a break from hockey. Enjoy. Don't take a break from the show.
Yeah, good call.
But enjoy yourself, spend some time with family and friends, and yourself all rejuvenated for another exciting Flames hockey season. We're back every single week. Have a good week, Flames fans.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for listening to Flames Unfiltered with Brad Burud and Kyle Lewis, your source for unfiltered Calgary Flames hockey talk. Keep it locked on flamesunfiltered.ca. Subscribe where you get all your podcasts to never miss an episode. Flames hockey talk every week, presented by Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.